Hey, what's up guys, Rorschach Media here, and today we're going to be comparing two huge smartphones from two huge companies. We got Sony on the left with the Sony Xperia Z, and we got HTC on the right with the HTC One. Both have so much to prove. Sony is trying to become third biggest phone manufacturer out there. You know, they've had some hard years. They had the Xperia S and stuff, but none of them really hit home. This one is built from Sony from the ground up, no more Ericsson, and you can really tell. So this smartphone is very good, but is it good enough to take down the HTC One? Well, HTC One is HTC smartphone to keep them at the top. You know, HTC's had some hard times with the One X, the One S, all these different brands. They've been kind of mixing it up. Sales have kind of fallen. They let Samsung overtake them. Well, the HTC One's back, and if you watch my review, it's an amazing smartphone. Both of these are. So I'm going to try and help you, see which one fits your taste better. So without further ado, let's start. We're going to start off with design. Both of these smartphones are probably the best built Android smartphones out there. We got the Sony and the HTC. So let's take a look at the Sony first. The Sony goes for what I like to call a Sony style. Sony always really uses these flat edges on a lot of their things, and I really like it. Looking at the phone, you got all glass basically right here. You got this plastic, but it looks like glass. Glass on the back, Gorilla Glass. Dragon tail glass, which is supposed to be a lot stronger than Gorilla. And everything is covered in ports because it is a waterproof device, which is really, really cool. And even though it is edgy, it doesn't hurt at all because it does have this nice rubber covering. It's not rubber, but something like it. It's really, really nice. It's not like the Lumia where it just pierces right into your arm, into your hand. On the button side, you got a really nice power button they took a lot of time to make, chrome, and it's really, really good to press, and it's at a perfect place when you're holding it. It's at a perfect place. You also got the volume keys, which are really easy to press and really nice. And overall, this device is extremely beautiful. I mean, it's seriously premium with its all-glass design. It just feels amazing in the hands, and it's pretty light and really skinny, and it's just a really, really, really good-looking device. Great job from Sony there. Then we got the HTC One, which is a stunning-looking device. It's got a full aluminum body, which is absolutely wonderful. It does have some plastic right here, but it's called zero-gap technology, where everything is molded together, so it's still unibody. Everything is molded together. There's no, gaps, and it's absolutely stunning. The aluminum feels great when you hold it in the hands. It, of course, it's really sturdy when you grab it in the morning, and it's really, really cold. The way it's curved, it just fits seriously nice in the hands. In the front, as you can tell, it's got the two speakers, which are just really good. They're called boom sound. We'll talk about that later. And it's just got a really, really nice style, too. You got the corners kind of like on an iPhone. Then these two front things, some people compare it to the BlackBerry, but this is for the speakers. BlackBerry is for the swiping. But yeah, it's got that style like that. You got the mini USB. And this one is not waterproof, but it's, beautiful aluminum design. The button placement is not the best for me. Right here, they're fine, and they look really good. But they are kind of hard to sometimes make out, but they do press really nicely. Though this one being on the left side took some time getting used to, and you kind of have to go like this. But I mean, it's not a big deal, and it is an IR blaster, which we'll talk about more later. But otherwise than that, this is a beautiful device. Overall, both of these devices are beautiful. But I have to give it to one, and that's the HTC One. It is the more beautiful device here. I mean, the all-aluminum body is something that's really new, and HTC tries out some really new things like the speakers, and all just goes together so dang well that it just stands out compared to any other phone. That's not to say that Sony looks bad. Sony looks great, and I'd put it second best looking Android smartphone out there, so second place smartphone out there. So yeah, both of these are stunning, but the HTC One takes that. Next, let's talk about displays. This is one area where both of them are trying to, really shine. On the Sony Xperia Z, you got a 5-inch 1080p display with 441 pixels per inch. It is TFT technology, so it's not LCD3. On the HTC One, you got a kind of smaller 4.7-inch 1080p display with 469 ppi because of that smaller size, and LCD3 technology. So both of these displays that you expect are, great, but on Sony's side, the colors are really, really good. So if we go on, let's not go on albums, go on movies. If we go on movies and we go down to Xperia Landscape, you'll tell just how beautiful it is. It's also got the Bravia technology to really make the colors shine. Really makes the colors shine and everything. Just look really strong without being overly saturated. And it does look amazing, as you can tell. It looks really, really nice. When viewing text and everything, it's extremely sharp. It's just a beautiful display. But there are some things like the viewing angles which are quite a problem. So right when you turn it, it loses it. Now, I don't care like hugely, but it's not really, you know, it's not like if you turn it like this, which is kind of to be expected, you know, but if you turn it just like this, it's already like kind of loses color, it gets kind of bladed out. So that's a bit of an issue that I would like for Sony to fix on their next smartphone for sure, because the display is stunning, but the viewing angles kind of ruin it. Also, this isn't a display, but Sony decided to use a bunch of gray hues, which makes a lot of people think that the contrast ratios are bad. No, they're not. They're actually quite good. The blacks look nice. It's just Sony decided to go with this gray, which I think was really stupid because it really jumps out. Now on the HTC side, we got probably the best display I've ever used. Now, the colors on this display are stunning. When looking at pictures, when looking at text, it's just all extremely sharp. So let me go here real quick. Everything is sharp. When on the web browser, it's just extremely sharp text. So everything is just, like I said, really sharp. When going through here, as you can see, the colors just really shine. The colors are LCD style. They're not hugely oversaturated, but they're really natural looking. I would say they're a bit stronger in a Sony if that's something you want, but they're really strong and natural looking here, without being overly strong and without being, you know, Samsung oversaturated. So it just looks really good, and its sharpness is just insane. The viewing angles are also insane. You can, I mean, literally, you can turn it like this, and it's perfectly fine. It's absolutely insane how nice this display is. So overall, both of these displays are great, but I'm going to give it to the HTC because the LCD3 technology truly, you know, shines. Sony's got some great things on their display, but they can't get everything perfect. You know, the viewing angles and stuff like that, while HTC gets a lot of things amazing. The whites are better here. Been comparing them, they're better here, and also the blacks are better in the HTC. So overall, HTC deserves the display one. Next, let's talk about sound. This is where HTC brings something new to the table. HTC likes to call it boom sound, which is their advertising thing. It's basically two stereo speakers on the front. So instead of going to the back or Sony style on the side, it's on the front, so it's coming at you, which is extremely smart. We've seen Samsung do it with the Nexus 10 and their tablets, but not on a phone. And it does have a built-in amplifier along with Beats audio. As you can see, it's got an AT&T logo because it is the AT&T version, just to mention that. It does have LTE. So it does have the two stereo speakers with the built-in amplifier, and they are really good. It's not just an advertising stunt, as a lot of people like to think sometimes. I mean, they are really good. They produce some really good sound. So let's try and find a video. I don't know. Let's just try and find something with action. The Last of Us Entered the Apocalypse. Alright. We can kind of take a look at the display here too. Sorry, let me just take this off screen real quick. But as you can see, you can hear it. It's not just about the loudness that I'm talking about. It's about just the tones you get. You get background noise. You get them switching out because it is stereo. It's got good bass, and you can see everything just sounds really good. I'll give it a second.
It's coming in May, and tonight there's brand new footage of The Last of...
That's my Wi-Fi being slow, but yeah, as you can see, the sound is just absolutely great. Something that truly amazed me. If you like to use it without earphones and stuff, it's great. I mean, I sometimes like to, actually a lot of the time, I like to watch YouTube videos and stuff on my phone without the headphones in, so it's perfect for that. Another thing, now the Sony Xperia Z. Sony Xperia Z decided to go with just standard mono speaker right on the right side, which I think it's kind of the wrong decision. So let's go on YouTube here. So it's on the right side, it's not on the back, it's on the right. So when you're going like on a video, you basically, the sound, first let's talk about sound I guess, and then I'll talk about the bad of it. The sound overall is alright, it can go pretty nice and loud. As you can see, it can go nice and loud. Sometimes when you put it too loud, the sounds do kind of muffle. But overall it produces quite crisp tones, and it's very usable. I wouldn't use it, you know, to listen to music and stuff like I would on the HTC without the speakers, but they're quite nice. But the problem is the placement. So when playing a game, it's fine to keep it like this, which is how I do. But sometimes I'll put my thumb over it by accident, as you can see. As you can see, it sounds pretty good. It's average compared to other phones. I mean, average with the other phones, but average when compared to the HTC.
I'm here with Bruce.
But as you can see, it doesn't sound even close to as good as the HTC. But also, like I said, when holding it like this, you can accidentally cover it very easily. So the placement is kind of bad. And overall, the sound goes to HTC. It's just one thing that I was kind of hoping Sony would get a little bit better. But, you know, well, you know, gotta use headphones then. So, next let's talk about the cameras. This is where they go completely different. Sony decided to go with their 13 megapixel Exymer RS sensor, which is supposed to be, you know, Sony's best. As you know, Sony makes cameras in, they make cameras in the Samsung phones, they make cameras in the iPhones, which are some really good cameras. So they make good cameras, and this was supposed to be their best with the 13 megapixel sensor. So let's open that up. Whoops, not Amazon. And there is a software thing I want to say. When opening up the camera for the first time, it takes quite long. Then on the HTC, we got something they like to call ultra pixel. So we got a 4 ultra pixel camera, which is basically a 4 megapixel camera times a 4 megapixel camera. Generally, I mean, that's what it is, but it does things differently. So it's got a bigger sensor, which means it can catch 300% more light. So something like the Nokia has, so you can do good low light performance. And I have used it in low light quite a bit, and it does do really good low light performance. I mean, you know, I don't take much low light because phones usually don't do such a good job, such as the Sony. But the HTC does a wonderful job. It really produces a good light environment too, and it just does, you know, kind of what the Nokia did. Just really, really nice. But if we go to the camera, not FM radio, camera. So if we go to the camera, as you can see, well, first we'll talk about the interfaces of both of them. Let's take a look at the Sony's, which is actually a really, really nice interface. So right here you got basically the different modes. You got all the normal stuff like normal, video camera, burst, picture effects. So you got all those nice things. And you got Superior Auto, which I think is a great feature. For people who don't like to change settings much, of course you got a bunch of settings to change if you want, but let's say I bring in, I don't know, but let's say I bring it here. As you can see, night scene, and it's going to keep changing. You know, when you bring in paper, it'll say like document and stuff like that, so it changes all the time. Captures its own, it recognizes what scene it is basically and helps you take a picture. So it's a really, really nice feature for people who don't like to, you know, mess with the camera too much. On the settings side, you can change resolution. The max is 12. If you go to normal though, it can be 13. But the max is 12 here. 9 megapixels is for 16 by 9. This is by 4 by 3. Then you got all these different things like smile, shutter, quick launch. You got everything, you know, basically you need here. And it's a very, very nicely designed interface. And when it comes to taking pictures, it takes nice pictures, especially in good lighting. It takes really, really crisp pictures, especially on this display. The colors are really, really nice. Produces extremely strong colors, especially on the display, like I said, and just really, really nice tone to it. When you take it inside, and where the light's a little bit worse, you're going to notice it gets a little bit, sorry, I'm looking for the word. It gets a little bit grainy, and it still does a pretty good job, but it could do better. In low light performance, it's not the best in. That's something that still goes to HTC and Nokia. But yeah, overall in good light though, it takes wonderful pictures. So if you put them here, we can go like this, just show you the shutter speed. I'll really quickly take it back to kind of show you. Now the shutter speed is not the fastest out there. So if we go right here, as you can see, it focuses really fast. And as you can see, reasonably fast shutter speed. So if we go here, as you can see, the picture is quite nice. It takes some pretty good details. You can zoom in quite far because it is 13 megapixels. It does get grainy when you zoom in quite a bit, but the lighting's not too great here, and that's something I was talking about. When the lighting's a little bit worse, it doesn't do the best of jobs. But overall, it's a really good camera phone. Like, you're not going to have problems carrying this around and taking pictures. Now let's talk about the HTC. The HTC interface is really, really nice. It's basically kind of how it was on Sense 4, where you got basically the camera here, quick to record, gallery, you still got these different effects, and you got flash, and you got a thing called Zoe, which we'll talk about more. You got all the different settings, you got a bunch of those too. The shutter speed is extremely fast, so if we put that there, I mean really fast. And you can see right here, take a really nice picture too. I didn't really focus it, but you can zoom in pretty far. And it takes really nice pictures, actually. I was really surprised. The HTC One takes really, really nice pictures. Of course, you got the front camera. But it takes really, really nice pictures. I mean, it captures good detail, which is something I wasn't expecting. Now, if you zoom in a lot, yes, you'll notice it's a 4 megapixel camera, but it captures really, really nice details. Even in low light, which is one of its big points, you know, it takes great pictures. Please continue to part 2 to see more about camera and more. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you on part 2.